on. Let me bring on the one and only Georgia Allen. Good afternoon, Georgia. Hello? Can anybody hear me? Let me see. I think I brought on it. Let me see. Move here. And Georgia, you over there. Hello, Georgia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I was hitting the wrong buttons and,
Oh,
got to make sure everybody comes on in a row, you know.
okay. Okay, well, I'm going to do our typical greetings and opening.
Mhm.
First and foremost, I just want to commemorate the Dr. King holiday celebration and commemoration. We never want to uh, be the type of people that forget the work that Dr. King did for all of us and why we're sitting where we are today and why we have access to the things that we have today. So, with that being said, we want to definitely commemorate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as always, we bring you greetings. It is Thursday, and I am Georgia F. Allen, your noonday host. And as always, we want to thank Henderson Vaughn, aka the Dream Maker, aka Captain 85, who has opened up the airwaves to bring our listening audience a conversation for information, a conversation for correction, and a conversation for transformation. We believe that it's important that we bring good information to our listening audience, information that is positive, that is about making a change. We're looking for results. A lot of times people want to say everything negative, but they very rarely want to talk to you about the positive. And while Dr. King was very tough on those things that were not right, he also had an answer. He also had ways of changing things to correct those things that were not right. And so we try to use this show in a similar fashion. Today we have a super team. Our guest today is Ashley and Jawon Kidd, and they're with the Kid Warrior Foundation. We're very excited because the Kid Warrior Foundation is a community nonprofit, which is an anti-child abduction organization. The mission is to spread awareness about child abduction and sex trafficking throughout our country and educate people on the importance of all kids getting self-defense and awareness training. The goal is to spread awareness by hosting multiple family-friendly events throughout the year. Mr. and Mrs. Kidd have sponsored multiple youth programs throughout Hampton Roads, and all of Kid Warriors train under the Tyrant MMA program, and they also provide sponsorship program through those arenas. The program start with youth at the age of 5 years old, and then speak with them about how to be aware, alert, and how to defend themselves. The training and awareness skills, which is passed down to children, can potentially save their lives and prevent tragic situations and tragic outcomes from taking place. By hosting these community events, it has allowed them to team up and collaborate with other organizations to help give all kids a fighting chance. We are pleased to have Mr. and Mrs. Kidd, Jawon Kidd, and Ashley Kidd to our program today. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started and let you guys talk a little bit about your program. I know I did the intro, but there are always personal stories and other things that you can share with the listening audience so that they're aware of where they can go and find resources that can be beneficial, both to the adults as well as to the children.
Yes. So my husband and I both grew up in the rougher areas of Cleveland, Ohio, and we were both raised by single mothers. And unfortunately, we didn't have all of the funds and resources to be able to do a lot of curricular activities and stuff like that to kind of stay out of the streets and, stay out of trouble. We moved to Virginia Beach about 6 years ago, and we started training our kids at the local UFC gym in Norfolk. And once they had started training, we started finding out about the human trafficking and child abduction and how bad it is even here in Virginia, especially with being so close to all of the ports and everything. And us parents had came together and wanted to come up with an organization that we could help make sure that all kids get the self-defense and awareness training to help protect themselves so that they don't end up getting in those types of situations. And for the kids who weren't able to afford for the type of training, like myself and my husband growing up, that we would be able to sponsor and pay for those kids to get that type of training. Also, as parents, we also want to be there to be able to protect our children at all times. And unfortunately, that's impossible. But what we do need to do is prepare them for when we are not around. It is our responsibility to instill in our children the self-defense skills and the knowledge to know how to protect themselves and others in harmful situations from acts of violence. We teach our children at a young age that monsters aren't real, but they are real. They're very real. Every 40 seconds in the United States, a child becomes missing or abducted. More than 300 missing children's cases remain unsolved here in Virginia today. We can start to make a difference by helping make sure that all children get the self-defense skills needed to survive in this world. These skills will not only protect them today, tomorrow, but the rest of their lives. Martial arts enables children to develop the self-confidence, self-discipline, and self-respect, as well as respect for others. So with all of your support, together we can teach one child to save another. Thank you.
Thank you. That is very helpful information, especially when we continue to hear about the incidents that have taken place in the Hampton Roads area where we've lost young children from acts of violence, whether they were sexually attacked or abused. At the end of the day, that's another child lost. And so anything that we can do to help alleviate that, any knowledge that we can pass on is critically important. Jawon, did you want to share something as well?
No, sorry, breaking up a lot, but I believe Ashley covered majority of the basics of our mission and our goals. Just speaking from a aspect, being a child, at one point I was taken away from my mother for a few years, and by the grace of God, we were able to be reunited. And a lot of people don't believe that you can be abducted by someone that is close to the family, and that is one important case, or that we want to. One important issue that we want to stress, that equipping our kids with the proper awareness skills, will help them to know that although that's Uncle Henry, if mommy didn't say go with him, then I'm not going with Uncle Henry. I feel like a lot of.
Oh, it's cutting out.
I think we lost him temporarily, but basically it's kind of loud and clear that we can be attacked from within and from without. So we can be attacked by family members as well as those who are outside of our close-knit group. And that's from a teacher to a minister to someone in a faith-based arena, or even in the daycare area. There are a number of places that our young people could be attacked. So, that's important that people understand that. Did you want to elaborate on that a little more, Ashley?
Yes. Yeah. So I grew up in
I'm sorry, I got real bad reception. Ashley, if you could take the lead.
Yeah. So my mother was in a few different difficult domestic situations where her husband and stuff had domestically abused her. And we, as children, had went to multiple different domestic violence shelters, as well as different babysitters and everything that she could kind of to move forward. I was actually sexually molested when I was younger by somebody who was close to the family. And he actually was called our pawpaw. So, to think of him as like a grandfather, and I was very young at that time, and you still remember that type of trauma. But we want to try to instill in the kids now that it's okay to say no. It's okay if you feel like something is not right. Even if you maybe can't go to your mom or dad, maybe that's why we're trying to come up with a nice close-knit system, because like the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And if we can get enough of these community organizations together, that if a child comes or, a teenager, a young adult comes to us with a situation and maybe I can't help them in that certain area, but we have other communities that we are very close with and linked with that we can refer them to be able to get the help that is needed.
And that is so important. Education is key in many of the areas. If you've ever listened to my show, I like to use as a foundation the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And of course, Ujima talks about collective work and responsibility, and that's the community coming together. We're making our problems the community problems, and making sure that we're working on one accord.
I'm sorry, you broke up real bad.
Can you hear me?
That's on his connection.
Okay, that's on your end. And by working together in a collective manner, what we are able to do is to see those problems not as one person or individual or this group over here, and we don't care about this group. We collectively see those problems and then we solve them together. We don't look for one person, one individual to solve those problems,
Yes.
but we recognize it's all of our responsibility to help and resolve these issues.
Yes, it is.
So what you share about education is extremely, extremely important. Helping our kids to be able to identify when there's something that just doesn't feel right. And part of it is having these conversations. So what do you recommend that parents say, or how to get this conversation started? What are some of the things that you have found to be helpful in getting these type of conversations started with especially the young ones?
Yes. So I usually start mine pretty much when they start even bathing by themselves, maybe about 4 or 5, when they start really understanding the concept of their body and their body parts. And at that point, it's nobody else is allowed to touch your private parts except for you now. So now I hand you over the washcloth and you wash yourself up. And if anybody ever touches your private parts, you tell them no. And you tell mommy or daddy or anybody that you feel safe, and you tell them that they touched your private parts. And I kind of like push the issue that nobody is allowed to touch there. And I kind of just start pushing that in there as young as 4, and to where when they're older, that they know that they're not supposed to be getting bathed, not even by their father at that age, especially my girls. Like, so these are your parts. And my son, I said, this is your private area. Nobody needs to come in to your private area. Also, if you feel uncomfortable, like somebody is pressuring you to do something you don't want to do, and you feel like it's putting you in a bad situation, it's okay to say no. And if you need a way out, maybe you guys can come up with a system. Like I have my kids to where if they can text me on a phone or something and let me know, Mom, can you pick me up here, and have like a little code saying that they say that they feel uncomfortable as they get older, like teenage years, and they need to get picked up from an uncomfortable situation, and they kind of got a different code way to call you or text you to come get them out of that situation. I just feel like just kind of be as open as you can with your kids about these types of uncomfortable conversations, because a lot of people don't want to have these conversations to scare their kids in a sense. I guess they don't want them to be afraid to go out there into the world. But what we really need to do is prepare them for the bad people out there, because there are, and they look as nice as me and you, you know, and smiling, and hey, I'm going to give you a gift and I'm going to take you nice places. So you really have to be able to trust your true intuition. And if you feel if something is wrong, you really need to listen.
Absolutely. And how many times have
Yeah,
you?
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree. It is a very sensitive topic, but nowadays it's just something we have to sit down and have this conversation with our kids. You know, it's we're adapting to the world we're living in, you know, and it's sad to say, but we have to have these conversations. We have to.
Absolutely. And how many times have we seen on TV someone has kidnapped someone or they've done something horrific, and all of the neighbors come and say, "Oh, but he was such a nice guy. He was so sweet." And the same thing with a female. "Oh, she was, I can't believe she did that." You know,
Right,
and so,
right.
and so
But
look cannot
we're
determine outcome just by somebody looking nice. Go ahead.
Yes.
we're in Cleveland. Some girls. My wife went to school with one of them. They were taken away by a gentleman for 10 years. It ended up being one of their friends' father abducted these girls, kept them for 10 years in a neighborhood. Nobody knew these girls were in the neighborhood. And when they were found, it was just like you're saying, like, wow, we barbecued with this guy over the last 10 years. We were hanging out in his backyard.
Yeah,
the whole time they're abducted in his basement. He had a baby with one of them. It was a really sad story.
Oh wow, that's kind of like Jeffrey Dahmer, you know.
Yeah, what was
how
his
many
name?
Years? How many years? You in the same area?
I'm looking it up now.
I think his name was Anthony. No, not Anthony Stowell.
No, that was the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a couple just in our area in Cleveland, Ohio. Anthony Stowell, he had abducted women and killed them and had them buried in the backyard, all in his walls. And it took one lady. She defended herself. She obviously earlier in her life she took some self-defense classes and stuff like that. Long story short, she was able to escape, and that's how that serial rapist was found.
It was Ariel Castro who kidnapped the other 3 young girls from middle school in Cleveland. And they were just walking home from school, and he got each one of them at a separate time.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite frightening. I have grandkids and great grandkids and nieces and nephews and all, and so it can be very disconcerting as a mom, grandma, great grandma when you hear about these type of things. And talking with our young people and letting them know, okay, tell me if someone has done something that you're not comfortable with, and how to respond to these things, and make sure that you come to us and let us know if you feel uncomfortable. And the code word, I want to remind people today we have Jawon kid, and that's DAWON kid.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ashley, so I do apologize. We accidentally put J instead of the
No,
D.
you're fine.
and we have Ashley Kidd, and they're with the Kid Warrior Foundation. And I love that name because our children do need to be warriors. They're being attacked in so many different arenas. They're being attacked, and especially after COVID came out. If you were a mask wearer where someone decided that they didn't want to be, and instead of just saying, well, I just don't wear mask, they felt the need to maybe attack the person who wore the mask. And so there's so many different ways that we are getting attacked, and that happens with our children as well. And so we have to be very careful. We have to be cautious, and we have to push back against that type of behavior. I just read recently. Here's this guy who was a security guard at, I think it was a dollar store of some sort somewhere, and he asked the customer to wear a mask, and their behavior turned into killing the security guard. And this was an entire family, so the children was there as well. And I was thinking, my thought came was, what are we teaching these children? If this is our behavior, how do we expect the kids to act any differently? And I want to hold us as adults accountable and make sure that we're talking to each other. If we're going through some things that are frustrating to us, let's not take it out on someone who is doing their job. His job was to inform the customer that this was a place where you did have to wear a mask. And it could have been because they had seen an increase in COVID or flu or all these various airborne diseases. And to be so angry about someone asking you to do something that you feel that you have the right not to do, my recommendation is go to another store. There are so many stores out here. You don't have to go to that store. And so we need to tap ourselves down a little bit as adults. And that's kind of what I'm hearing from you, is to help people to understand, and that's on all levels, right from wrong, because somewhere along the way we forgot, basic simple morals and values and common sense things that we used to do. Just it was almost automatic. So how long has your company been operational? How long have the Kid Warrior Foundation been operational?
Just going on 3 years now. We started in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. Actually, it was really rough. As soon as we started, everything got shut down. But that did not stop us. We still made sure that we threw our community events, and we just made sure that we kept everybody as safe as we possibly could, and everybody made sure we had our hand sanitizers, our masks, and kept our distances and everything. And we were still able to spread our awareness and get our points across and make our connections throughout the community. We also were still able to hold our sponsorships throughout the pandemic as well as doing virtual classes also. So even through the struggle, we have still been able to push through and still keep this organization moving.
And that's good, because it's compelling to know that there are people out here who are fighting for our young people. Did you want to share something, Mr. Kidd?
No, she pretty much covered it. We've been operating for 3 years, and it's been an uphill battle since we started. And I don't know, how can I say this? A lot of people speculate that this isn't as a important topic as the war on crime. But I feel like that this is, if not a bigger topic, that we should be having. And we get shot down a lot, and people don't really want to endorse us. It kind of gives me a feeling a lot of people got their hands in certain things, and they don't want to be exposed. And, I don't know. It's just been a very, very hard struggle just to put the records out there. But we're 10 toes down. We're pushing forward, and we're going to take those who support us and those who stand up with us, and we're going to grow by the number, and we're going to get stronger and more powerful. And eventually, we won't just be teaching these kids self-defense and awareness skills. We eventually want to have a facility where we teaching these kids financial wealth, literacy and things like that. Bring religion back. A lot of people has lost their way, but it's up to us to help guide the future down the right path. And even so, yes, as parents, we have to take a sense of responsibility for our own children. And in a sense, as a neighbor, I can't judge the next parent, but I can help in whatever way I can to help that neighbor install this information into a kid. I remember my mom would tell me back in the day that things where it takes a village to raise a kid, and everybody treat thy neighbor as they wanted to be treated, and it was a more of a community thing in neighborhoods. And now people are so secluded and want to be by self into video games. The street we just moved on, nobody knew anybody until we moved on the street, and we're introducing ourselves. And I've had a neighbor tell me, we've been on the street 20 years. They've been on the street 15 years. We never spoke to each other until you came around, and that's just sad. How you not know your neighbor's name?
Right.
It's just sad. We just got to do better as people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you make some excellent points, because I'm the neighbor that speaks to everybody in my neighborhood. When people move in, I greet them and speak to them and all, and I wave at everybody when they're coming and when they're going. When I'm leaving and coming back, I try to wave to everybody just to kind of, give everybody a sense of belonging, and to stop looking at each other as if I don't want to be bothered, or I don't know who they are. Well, of course you don't know who we are. We haven't met yet.
Right. Or it'd be like that nosy neighbor. Watch that nosy neighbor. It's not about me being nosy, or I just want to know who's around me. Because if I know who's around me, then I can have a sense of comfortability. Absolutely. I know Miss Collins over here. I know Miss Smith is over here. But this guy seems kind of odd. The suspects will stick out like a sore thumb if we were community based. If we
absolutely
stress that we need each other. A lot of people are just so independent, they feel like they don't need anybody. Mm-hmm. And when it's all said and done, everybody could use a little help.
Absolutely. And we kind of came up with this individual mindset instead of more of a community mindset. And that's something that we're going to have to work on. Most things didn't happen overnight, so they won't be resolved overnight. But what I like about what you guys are doing is you've identified an issue, you identified a situation, and instead of complaining about it, because that is one of my biggest beefs is with technology. When you look online, everybody has a complaint. But nobody looks for resolutions. Nobody looks to solve any issue. But it's so much more fun and energizing to sit here and complain and criticize and demean people. And unfortunately, a lot of these social medias platforms rely on the anger and the tit for tat, and who can out clap back the next person.
Yes. You're exactly right. I couldn't have said it no better, Miss Allen. But like you said, it's a work in progress. We just got to have some people that's willing to work, and we're willing to work. We're willing to give back as much as we can without hindering ourselves. But we're in it for the long haul. Like if a kid called me and the kid's in Spain, and he's like, "Hey, I want to join up for this mixed martial arts gym that's a few blocks down the street. I think it'll do me some justice," or whatever the case, a parent, a kid, whoever. I'm gonna reach out to the local gym, and I'm gonna see what we can do to get that kid off the streets and involved in something positive.
Mm-hmm. That is good. What I was looking at, you doing more or less anti-bullying. You're trying to help avoid any type of sexual assault, any type of human trafficking.
Also, the second, the knowing thy neighbor. Mm-hmm. Also, I always recommend for everybody to do a sex offender search in their neighborhood. Okay. When you do that and where you work at, you'd be surprised at how many pings you're going to get on your streets, your neighborhoods, where your kids go to school at. They're going to be everywhere. It just kind of helps you get an idea of who is where. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of have your kids be a little more aware of where these predators are and where they work and stuff like that, to just kind of keep an extra eye out.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's just another another aware tactic, but just not to scare anyone, but just to be real.
Aware.
It's the ones that hasn't been caught. It's the ones that aren't on the registration list.
Right.
It's the ones that's been getting away with it for 30 years, you know. So it's kind of like, dang, how can we filter? And you know, all we can do is our best. Yeah, do the scan, that way you know who's around you and stuff like that. But don't think that because Mr. Smith isn't on that list, that Mr. Smith isn't isn't a threat to the community. You know, just
absolutely
being aware and being alert. Yeah, but we definitely want to keep in mind that a lot of these guys, you know, they're really good at what they do, and it's not just about sex trafficking anymore. That's like beneath us at this point. We're so close to the water. Within 72 hours of any abduction, you got a chance of that individual never been seen again.
Wow.
No remains, nothing, because it's bigger than just sex now. Now they're after your organs.
Yes.
You know? And
yes.
And there's no age. Now it's like, okay, if I get this young boy, this young girl, I can market it until they get worn out on sex trafficking. And then once they're done, you know, I can salvage the organs. But I could come get this 60-year-old man, this 60-year-old woman, whatever organ she has that's viable, they'll strip them.
Wow.
We'll never see any remains. Right now, the battle is, you know, not just trafficking, but it's human remain, like organs and stuff like that is on the market. And that's what makes
organ harvesting.
That much scarier. It's like, man, you know, it's like, okay, my kid get abducted. Back in the 80s, you had a chance of at least finding remains.
Right.
You know, nowadays your kid get abducted, you don't even have nothing to bury. It's just gone. The whole, you know, and that's like I said, I don't mean to scare anybody, but this is real. These are real life situations that we're living in.
Yeah. Too, I saw an article I was reading. They were saying that even when you apply for your driver's license, and it asks if you want to be an organ donor, don't put it on there, because if a police officer stop you, you already know you're organ donor.
Right.
So these are the things that we have to.
I agree with you.
You know.
Yeah. Fake police too, because there's a lot of fake people pretending to be law enforcement when they really aren't.
Right.
And so they see that and tell you, oh, give me your driver's license, and you give it to them, and then they're like, okay. So
it's very world we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of these types of things have been going on forever. It's just us having social media and phones and stuff like that have brought a lot more of the crime to the light, you know, and a lot of things that even more of the higher power up there have kept hidden and stuff. And we're able to kind of expose a lot more things that have been happening for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things. Go ahead.
It's scary too, because I've been told, like, be careful which road you're going down. Know who you're fighting up against. Like you're fighting up against a multi-billion-dollar organization. Be careful, and you know, and that right there, in a sense, you know, a weak-minded individual will run out of fear, shut down the operation. We're not about to, you know, but we're not gonna fold. We're not gonna run out of fear. We're gonna stay strong and stay humble. And when it's all said and done, we're just trying to put prevention methods in place. Like, they're trying to keep crime off the street. We're trying to keep kids in their homes.
Okay.
Simple.
Now, how can the community help and support the Kid Warriors Foundation? What are some of the things that members of the community can do?
First and foremost, starts at home. You can help us by making sure that you're passing down that awareness information to your own children. And our motto is to teach one child to save another. So by you passing down the information to one, we expect that it to go like a chain reaction. Also, you can reach out to us through any of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, or through our website, and we can get you on our volunteer list, and you can help through all of our community events. We have plans within the next 5 years to be able to have a facility that we can have a safe place for kids to come and have multiple resources to help guide them to be the best that they can be in life, not only just for the self-defense and awareness part, but like my husband said, to be able to learn financial skills and hands-on training, maybe on craftsmanship and stuff like that, to kind of help find their passion in life. And once we have that up and running, and with the help of the community, we can get that running sooner, and we can definitely use all the volunteers and help from everybody to get that going for our youth. Other than that, it's just anything that you can possibly do to help pass that information so that we can help our youth as much as we can.
Terrific. And we definitely want to do that. And some of the volunteer activities, why don't you share with maybe some of the upcoming events that you already have on your calendar?
Yes, we are going to be hosting our annual Batting Against Child Abduction coming up in spring. We don't have a set date. It is going to be in April. We're going for the 23rd, hopefully. And we actually host a huge softball event, and all the businesses and different types of martial arts centers come together, and we all play a huge softball game to stand up against child abduction. And we have also different types of community organizations come and speak about the different effects that it has had on our community as well. So our volunteers, we might have them set up at a station, just maybe doing face painting for the kids, or we'll have them doing different raffles, or they can definitely participate in the softball event as well. And then we keep up on posting our future events on our social media sites also. So if you guys want to know any future dates, we'll have them all posted on there for you guys.
We also plan on doing our first ever talent show.
Oh yeah, the talent show.
Shortly after the Batting Against Child Abduction, maybe the following month. But we'll also have those dates posted, so all the local talent, artists, musicians, singers, rappers, comedians, magicians, you name them. We're actually looking for some promoters to help us promote these events. So if you know anybody, or you want to be involved in the Kid Warrior Foundation as a promoter, as a marketing, as a setup and cleanup, there's tons of different ways we could come together and find something that fits you, that you feel comfortable with doing, and things like that. So our biggest thing is getting people to endorse us, getting people to get involved in our events, coming out. We have a lot of local businesses and mixed martial arts gyms that show up to our events, but we're throwing this in the Aragona neighborhood. So this year I'm going to through the neighborhood, and I'm going to invite the neighbors to come on out to the event. So if that's the thing, is we need to get people out of their houses and involved in it. And if you can't get involved in it, we always could accept donations. We could utilize the donations anyway. Gift cards, items that you don't use anymore. We take clothes to is it the Samaritan House?
Samaritan House, yes.
Yeah, we donate a lot of things that we get and we don't know what to do with. We just give it to the Samaritan House and things like that. So if you have an organization as well, and you need help with bringing in food donations, clothes donations, things like that, we're willing to partner up with you and help you as well. So it's a team thing.
Yeah.
You said Aragona. I live down the street from Aragona. Where in Aragona were you looking to set up the softball event?
At either Arrowhead Elementary or what is the other one right there with the 3 fields, Ashley? Point of View.
Point of View. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're looking at Arrowhead, not Aragona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
That's okay, because look,
Yeah.
a lot of the neighborhoods sound very similar, and you guys are kind of new to the Virginia Beach and the Hampton Roads area.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to double check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just want to let the listening audience know it's Arrowhead. Whether you're listening now or you're listening later, we want to make sure it's going to be in the Arrowhead neighborhood, which is more or less what we used to call Kinsfield area of Virginia Beach.
Okay.
Those of us
Okay.
who,
Okay. I'm learning
Yep.
me something now.
Yes, when I grew up here, so I can help you out a little bit when you start naming
So if I have a
neighborhoods.
problem, Miss Allen, I can call you for navigation.
Yes.
Huh? That's good. That's good.
Yes, I grew up here, been here for what? Not my whole entire life because I'm almost 70, but
That's
because I've
good.
lived in other areas, but so I've been here at least 60 years in actually living in the city of Virginia Beach.
Nice.
So I kind of familiar with a few of these streets.
Oh yeah,
and
you could move around here blindfolded.
Yeah.
so I can move
So
around just a tad bit. Huh?
have you learned to adapt to the way people are driving, or is that still an issue for you here? Because I'm going through it.
It can be challenging. It can really be challenging because they've opened up roads and they've built a lot of new stuff, and then you plug it into your GPS, and so it's a brand new road, and GPS doesn't have it yet, and so they
Yep.
send you all around, and then you find out, wait a minute, I was right around the corner from there. I wished I hadn't used GPS.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's good to know that you do have people who are actually from here and have some idea of where things are located. I know Cecil, he grew up here, and so he's real familiar with Virginia Beach as well, and he's a great resource, a great asset, and his mom and I
Yeah,
have known each other
that's my
for a
brother right
long
there.
time. Huh?
That's
What
my
were you?
brother right there.
That's your bud.
He's growing on me, like I consider him blood. Blood brother.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He came on when you guys weren't able to come on before and just kind of share, his involvement with the Kid Warrior Foundation and everything, and had nothing but good things to say about the work that you guys are doing to help children. And I think one of his daughters participated
Yeah.
in some of the self-defense training that you have.
She sure did. She even got up on stage. I always commend our kid warriors for their bravery and their courage to go up on those stages and to, bring awareness and show the other kids that you can stand up and be a warrior and kick butt and still be pretty and a princess and be able to protect
Absolutely.
yourself, so.
Absolutely. And see, these are all really good skills, the self-defense skills that you teach them, the life skills, the mentorship information, even down to having safe places where these young people can go, identifying places and teaching them where some of the safe places are. That's so important.
Sometimes home is not always the safest place. I grew up and a lot of times there was stuff going on at home that I did not want to be a part of, so as long as there's somewhere else that you can give these kids an outlet to be able to go to, they need it. We all need it.
Absolutely. And you're right, both adults as well as young people and children. Go ahead.
Was he cutting in and out?
Yeah, right. We can hear him and then we can't. But that's okay. That's okay, because the good part about a show like this is we're providing information.
Yes.
And the other thing is you can always come back in 3 months or 6 months and there are things that change during that period of time, and you can make people more aware of something that may have not been a big issue when you came on this time, but may have grown into an issue that people may not be aware of. So we're constantly trying to educate the community. I tell people all the time, anybody can talk about the negatives, but we want people who know of the negatives and can share with the community some of the things that we can do to help us overcome challenges. I always like to call them challenges.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that people have done with messaging is they treat messaging like a weapon, okay, versus treating messaging as a means to educate people, but also to change the outcomes. And I'm looking to change outcomes for the better. And if we're doing that, we're going to have a much better society.
Yes.
And so that's where I am. I'm a pro getting better, a pro doing better, a pro working on things to make things better in the long term for both now and for later. And so that's why I do what I do. I have been doing this show because what I found is that there was so much negative going on and nobody was talking about the positive, even though being molested, even though human trafficking, those things are negative. The fact of the matter is when you can share with the audience some tools, some resources, some things that they can do, some things that we can do collectively as well as individually, that's a positive.
Yes.
So share with us, Jawon, because I know your technology has been giving you a little bit of a fit. But we're always willing and ready to hear what you have to say.
Oh, there he goes again.
He must be traveling. Is he?
Yeah, he always, he's always on the go.
Yeah, I'm always on the move. Always. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
This is so unfortunate. I'm actually at a KFC Wi-Fi, using their Wi-Fi, and it's just crappy. It's just crappy.
You said that too loud.
Let's need to upgrade.
We don't
But
want
I'm
to
sorry.
come in for
I'm
you.
sorry. What was right? What was the question again?
No, I was just sharing with Ashley and the audience is that one of the things that one of the reasons why I started doing this GA for Justice show is because we constantly heard the negatives and everything. And I like to call them challenges. And while, human trafficking, bullying, all of those things are challenging, what you guys have done is look at ways to solve these challenges versus just saying, oh, this is what's going on and that's it. And I think that has been the missing link in what is taking place in our nation, is that there's so many people that would much rather talk negative about what's happening rather than find solutions, because if they don't find any solutions, they can use those as pawns to keep people divided. They can use the fact that this is happening as a mechanism in many political arenas to only talk about the bad things and never talk about solutions. And so we have set this show up, GA for Justice, as a solution-based oriented talk show for conversation. And like I always open it up, this is where we have a conversation to provide information to those who may not be aware of these things. This is a place where we provide a conversation for correction, so that when you're out there correcting a problem, they're just using the conversation to just be dismissive or demean and all of these things. You're looking at ways that you can correct what's wrong and make things better. And then finally, we use this platform as a conversation for transformation, and which is kind of what you've done today, is transform some mindsets around what happens when there's a situation of child abduction or sex trafficking, or what your husband just recently mentioned is organ harvesting, and people being kidnapped just simply to get their organ and sell organs to persons who are in need, and they're harvesting our organs and things. And so this to me is very important, that we get this information out there so that we can bring about a positive change. But we're coming to a close, and I always like to give my guests a time to just do some final remarks with regards to what you do and how beneficial it is to the community at large and to individuals. And so, Ashley, and if your husband is able to get back, we're going to give him a chance to also give some final comments as well. So if you want to share with us some final comments.
Just my final closeout is just, they always have different types of things for after effects of all these types of trauma and everything, and the care for the counseling and everything, for after it happens. And like you said about bringing in the positives, and we want to prevent the negative. So that's why we are trying to be the only organization that we know right now that are putting prevention methods in place to stop this type of crime from happening, and so that we don't have so many kids and young adults with all of this trauma, because all of us as adults, we carry that trauma with us for our whole lives. And instead of looking at it like a victim, I went through a lot of stuff, and instead of looking at everything that I went through in going more of a depressive state, I looked at things on way that I can help younger kids like me that were in that type of situation, and help younger adults in those situations, and what I can do to help them to prevent from being in those situations.
Love it, because I'm one of these people. When you were sharing, all I saw was opportunities. Okay, well, if we work on this is another opportunity that we can, as a group, as a people, as a community, where we can come together to help solve some of these issues. And I love prevention, because one of the things that we hear a lot of people talk about is, I'm going to be tough on this and I'm tough on that. I'm tough on this. Well, guess what? If you started preventing some of these things, you wouldn't have to be so tough on them.
Yes.
And it's tough on some of this stuff at work, that we wouldn't have anybody in jail today.
That's right there.
So the fact that you led with prevention was like warm in my heart. And Henderson will tell you, I will talk about this all the time when I hear people running for office. I'm going to be tough.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's after the fact.
Right.
That's right. After the fact. If you spend some time on what is the reason, and I'm one of these people, I'm always looking at, what were the things that cause and affect? What are the causes?
Actually, if I could just add one more thing too, because that just you saying that is also one thing that I also stress to my kids. I also tell them, if you ever find yourself with a problem in school, my kids had just came home with a problem about schooling and stuff. And I said, well, instead of just dwelling on that problem, I want you to find 3 different solutions, totally different solutions. And you find that one solution that's going to work and solve your problem. Never dwell on your problems. There's always a solution. You have to find the right one.
Absolutely. See, now I love it.
Yes.
I love it, because that is the type of information. Those are the type of messagings that we need to get out there, because the folks who want negative messages out there, they go nonstop. It's on every platform that you can possibly see. Of any type of negative thing that they can come up with. And even when things are not negative, they will flip the script and turn those things into a negative, when in fact they were educational. They were done for the right reasons. Could there be some tweaks that could be done with that? Absolutely. But why take it and make it a totally negative situation when it really is someone working toward making things better? And if you came in with the right heart, the right mindset, yes, you can tweak it to improve upon it, to make it better, to find an opportunity, to find solutions, to help get better results. And that is what we're not seeing a lot of today. So, Ashley, Jawon, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so glad we finally connected.
Yes, thank you guys. I really appreciate
Yes.
all your time and you guys reaching back out to us and
Mhm.
understanding our difficulty and, just the busy, but like, again, no excuses. We got you guys. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing to help our youth and our community and help our organization grow. And I definitely look forward to connecting with you guys more and meeting you guys in person. And
Yes.
hopefully you guys coming out to our future events and you guys get to see a lot of our kid warriors and what we do.
Arrowhead.
Yes. Yes. I'll definitely send you guys personally all of our links and information and stuff and save you guys a special seat.
Okay, thank you. And Jawon, do you want to close us out with the message, please, by all means?
Yes. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay. First and foremost, I want to apologize for all the interruptions I'm having with my Wi-Fi. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for inviting us on the show to stress our mission, and just to all your viewers out there, if you could just please look into us. Um, I'm the type I don't just believe what I hear. I kind of got to do my own little research. Maybe come to one of our events. If you want to reach out and sit down and to get to know a little bit more about us and what's our mission before you commit to endorsing us or donating to us, we're willing and open to sit down and come together as community leaders, as which we should. So feel free to do your research on us. Feel free to get involved. Feel free to try to set some appointments with us. Feel free to donate, endorse, and write some endorsement letters if you like our mission and things like that. But you can't physically be involved. It's not always about money, but an endorsement letter stating that you and your company stands with the Kid Warrior Foundation would be more than enough. That is sometimes endorsing someone is just as critical as donating to them. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys, thank your audience for taking the time out today to listen to us, and I just wish everyone a blessed day and a happy weekend.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, we had Ashley Kidd and Jawon Kidd of Kids Warrior Foundation. And if you don't know anything about them, please listen to this show later. If you didn't get a chance to listen to it live, we definitely listen later. We're going to be sending it out through all of our social media platforms. I will be copying the link and sending it to you guys so that you can send it out to your fan base and letting them know. And we want to play this over and over again. We want to let other people know about what people are doing. There's plenty of people talking about what folks are not doing. We want to talk to you about what Ashley and Jawon are doing to make it better for our children and our young people and our next generation, because that is so important. Again, we heard them. They talk about prevention. They talk about opportunity. They talk about the things that can be done to find solutions to some of the things that are going on. And that is so very important. So again, we thank you and we wish you well and have a great weekend.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Take care. All right.
All righty then. Where's Georgia? You still there?
Yep. So we're
Yep.
going to shut down
Yeah,
till
you
next week.
Yeah. Okay then. See you then.
All right. Bye-bye.